Well, sir, what is it? And Laurie sat down without a sign of interest in face or voice. There is a business in London that needs looking after. I meant you should attend to it, but I can do it better myself, and things here will get on very well with Brooke to manage them. My partners do almost everything. I'm merely holding on till you take my place and can be off at any time. But you hate traveling, sir. I can't ask it of you at your age, began Laurie, who was grateful for the sacrifice, but much preferred to go alone if he went at all. The old gentleman knew that perfectly well, and particularly desired to prevent it, for the mood in which he found his grandson assured him that it would not be wise to leave him to his own devices, so stifling a natural regret at the thought of the home comforts he would leave behind him, he said stoutly, "Bless your soul, I'm not superannuated yet. I quite enjoy the idea. It will do me good, and my old bones won't suffer, for travelling nowadays is almost as easy as sitting in a chair." A restless movement from Laurie suggested that his chair was not easy, or that he did not like the plan, and made the old man add hastily, "I don't mean to be a marplot or a burden. I go because I think you'd feel happier than if I was left behind. I don't intend to go gad about you, but leave you free to go where you like, while I amuse myself in my own way. I have friends in London and Paris, and should like to visit them. Meantime, you can go to Italy, Germany, Switzerland, where you will, and enjoy pictures, music, scenery, and adventures to your heart's content." Mr. Lawrence as a travel companion.
I mean, I think it just shows how much just he loves Laurie. He basically was creating a home base for Laurie in Europe. He was creating this safe haven that Laurie's not just going to go treat it as this self-destructive thing because his grandfather's only a boat ride away at any point. It's not like he's in a totally different world.
He wants to let him do his own thing, then he also wants to spend time with him.
Now Laurie felt just then that his heart was entirely broken and the world a howling wilderness, but at the sound of certain words which the old gentleman artfully introduced into his closing sentence, the broken heart gave an unexpected leap, and a green oasis or two suddenly appeared in the howling wilderness. He sighed and then said in a spiritless tone, "Just as you like, sir. It doesn't matter where I go or what I do." "It does to me. Remember that, my lad. I give you entire liberty, but I trust you to make an honest use of it. Promise me that, Laurie." "Anything you like, sir." "Good," thought the old gentleman. "You don't care now, but there'll come a time when that promise will keep you out of mischief, or I'm much mistaken." He's a good man. I love Mr. Lawrence.
I have highlighted this part. "I trust you to make an honest use of it," and then written, "he doesn't."
Right.
Not in the beginning.
Not in the beginning, no. He eventually figures it out.
Laurie needs to grow from a boy to become a man. Being an energetic individual, Mr. Lawrence struck while the iron was hot, and before the blighted being recovered spirit enough to rebel thereof, during the time necessary for preparation, Laurie bore himself as a young gentleman usually do in such cases. He was moody, irritable, and pensive by turns, lost his appetite, neglected his dress, and devoted much time to playing tempestuously on his piano, avoided Jo, but consoled himself by staring at her from his window with the tragical face that haunted her dreams. I have another red flag here.
Right. Yeah. He's Edward from Twilight right now.
Yeah. By night, and oppressed her with a heavy sense of guilt by day. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, plus 5, 11. I have 12 red flags in this chapter.
Yeah, that sounds about right. This is the thing is, Laurie has been this person the whole time. He didn't just suddenly become this stalker type guy. I mean, think about it. He admits, like in the very beginning when he first meets Jo, that he's been watching her family through this window. He admits it. "You leave the curtain up and I watch your family through your window." That's a little scary, you know?
I know he's very lonely and he doesn't know anyone when he moves there. But that's still kind of creepy because it's 4 girls in the other
Yes.
house.
With only their mother and their housekeeper.
Yeah,
It's a house full of women. Kind of give him a pass, right, to begin with, because he's young and he's lonely. But at this point, he should be a man, and he should know by this point that you do not stare at women through their windows.
How much of that has to do with that chapter where Laurie makes those letters to Meg? You kind of get the feeling that he sees himself above Meg, and then now he sees himself above Jo.
Yeah.
And it's really disturbing. But I think it also kind of goes with that whole idea that Jo and Laurie, they fed each other with ideas that were not very healthy. They both had quite misogynistic ideas about women at some point.
I do feel like the 1994 film does do a good job of showing Laurie kind of getting that superiority issue with Meg, because of when she's there at Sally Moffat's and he basically makes a comment about her showing her cleavage and makes a comment about her drinking champagne. I think that in one way you view the scene and you're like, oh, he's just reminding her of like what her family's values are. But on the other hand, it's like, just let Meg have some fun and get off your high horse, Laurie.
Even though Meg is older than Laurie, maybe it's because of the privilege that he has.
Probably. And his being a male.
Yeah, that too. The part where Laurie sends those letters to Meg, it always bothers me because he not only thinks about how painful it's going to be for Meg, but then it's a really nasty thing to do for John because John is so poor. And Laurie knows that John likes Meg.
This goes with their pranking and stuff. And this is his immaturity, though, right? He doesn't take other people's hearts so seriously as he takes his own.
Like, my pain is more important than other people's pain.
Yeah.
In the 19th century, that was considered very romantic. And that's also interesting how our views are so different now.
No, I'm like, romantic to me is somebody who respects me and who values me. Like, that's the biggest romantic thing possible. Who listens. Ooh, that's a big romantic one. That was actually probably the first thing that attracted me to my husband. Was he's one of the first people I felt like really actually listened to me when I spoke. But again, that goes with respect, right? If you respect someone, you're going to actually listen to them, and not just listen to respond, but listen to know them.
That's true.
That's a more like a Friedrich type thing.
I was reading some of these letters that Louisa got from her fans, where the little girls were like, we were so heartbroken when Jo said no to Laurie. And these were like 9, 10, 12-year-old girls. I feel like they identify so much with Laurie, but then they don't have these experiences of having these kind of unfortunate situations with young men.
It's probably also the whole like fairy tale buildup, right? The prince is going to come in and, oh, he's so charming and he's so beautiful, and oh, my family loves him and he loves my family, and he just happens to be filthy rich. It's totally the fairy tale setup. It's not a fairy tale to go in, most fairy tales don't happen with you fall in love with the poor foreigner. Like, that's the other thing. It's Laurie seems more American, even though he's only half American anyway. I would be curious to see if girls nowadays are more receptive to the idea of Friedrich versus back in the day, because I think that we've done a better job, like in society, is romanticizing like foreign men instead of it being like, oh, at least in America, being the all-American. I know a lot of women who would much rather find it romantic to fall in love with a man who had an accent.
I think also because when the book came out, there was lots of hate against Germans.
Oh, that's true.
And then a lot of people were very poor. And now when people read Little Women, young girls, well, I don't think most of them are poor, maybe middle class, but back then, a lot of the readers were poor, and women, they didn't have opportunities to work. Like, girls couldn't really dream about having a career. They
Yeah.
dreamt about getting married with a rich man. So I think that's also why Laurie was so popular.
Sure. Yeah, because it's like a dream come true. It's this rich man is offering to marry you, and now you won't have to worry about anything. And you've already been proposed to on top of that. So there's all of your worries are gone.
Exactly what Laurie's offering to Jo. But then a lot of the readers, of course, failed to understand Jo's character.
Yeah.
And some people still do fail to understand that.
Oh, but look, again, we've kind of got the Twilight situation, right? Because in Twilight, Edward and his family have like endless amounts of money. And also, obviously, he could offer immortality on top of that, you know. But there are these toxic elements, the stalker type of stuff, the possessiveness. That's interesting because I hadn't thought about the whole how both of these ideas go ahead and fall into that fairy tale aspect of you find a prince who then can fix all your problems for you, essentially.
And then Jo and Friedrich, they are so normal. They are not as dashy. He's sweet, but he's poor.
Yeah.
He's stout. He has a beard. I love him. But he's not the dream man of most people, most women. But he's Jo's dream man, apparently, because he's based on Henry David Thoreau and Goethe and all these things that Louisa May Alcott found attractive. But then she had a very unique taste. And she was a very unique woman. So to me, Little Woman makes perfect sense with its marriages.
100%. Because she was attracted to intelligent people. That was, I think, her biggest draw was the intelligence of a man.
Thank you so much for listening. A link to the full episode, I Hurt Myself If You Say No, Red Flags in Laurie's Proposal, is in the description. Take care and make good choices. Bye.